talk about coronavirus. Seems to be a big deal lately. It is a big deal lately. It's not. Seems like it.
Yeah.
But COVID-19, some people call it. So
Shut about everybody down.
yeah, almost everybody. It seems like in our particular town, almost everything. Or they're shut down to just drive through the restaurants.
Yeah. Well, at first we'd like to thank all the farmers. Today we're going to be talking about the farmers. You know, there's multiple groups of people and different work occupations that we are definitely thankful for. And there's definitely some that help keep the farmers running, like the mechanics and the ag businesses, like just spraying and crop production stuff. So that's definitely something that we thank them for. But we're thanking the farmers today. That's kind of the goal of this video, is to thank them. You know, we're thanking the beef industry, the dairy industry, the poultry industry, the pork industry, the fish industry. And that's all on the meat side of things, but also on the veggie or the vegetation side of things. We're talking about the corn, guys, the beans, the canola, etc. All those different grains that wheat, those that the farmers out there provide and produce. So you were going to talk a little bit about something that the farmers.
Yes. So the weather, I guess, it seems to be a big factor besides the COVID-19, which is a big deal.
Yes.
But this was mainly about COVID, but I thought I would touch on a couple other things while we were talking about farmers and all the things they're going through, being the part stores are closing sooner,
Yep.
and everything is on a time schedule. We're got to plan out a day so much more tough, I guess, or harder. But the weather, farmers are out all kinds of weather, whether it rains, snows, ices, mud, anything you can think of. We are out. We have to do it.
Yep.
I mean, cows, they want their food. Really?
Yep.
I mean, some people call it selfish, but, I can't really blame them. I'd want my food too.
Yep.
But we're passionate about making sure they get their food and enough food. So the weather has a big factor, but it doesn't stop the farmer.
Yeah, and that's the same way with the grain industry too, because they don't have the livestock to deal with, so it might not be as day-to-day basis on the livestock industry part of it. But definitely the crops, they play a big role in a person's life, especially if that's their main occupation. They have to make sure those crops are sprayed, they have to make sure their fields are worked, and they have to make sure a lot of that on the crop side of the world is a lot of their machines have to be maintenance regular, have to be programmed. A lot of them are ran off GPS now, so they've got to have their subscriptions up for their maps and all of that, and that seems like to be a big part of that.
The main part of that these days is all went technology.
Yep. So that's definitely a part of the grain industry. But yeah, you're exactly right about the weather on the cattle and the hogs and the poultry and all that. It has a major effect, and it has also, I guess, a major effect on their food source too.
Yes.
Because with the weather, that not only does the grain affect the way how much the cattle get fed, but the silage and some of that the farmers feed. If it gets wet and muddy, they can't get it out, or if they do, man, they sure do have to tear up their machines to get it out. Seems like
puts a lot more stress,
Yep.
and then if things break, puts
Yep.
so much more tension and.
Exactly, and then think of the sacrifices the farmers have to make. You that are not farmers, you may not understand this, but farmers, when they start in the year, they take their money and they go purchase grain, the seed for the grain that they're planning, or the crop they're planning to grow, or they go and invest money into the feeds that their cattle are going to have to eat over the winter, and they bank on that stuff to guaranteed make money, because you can't just do it for nothing. And that's kind of a big deal.
I feel like one main part that I shouldn't say some people forget, but I feel like we need to keep in our mind, and this big part is farmers feed the world.
Yes.
Without farmers, there's no food. And me personally, I feel like food's a big thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what I'd do with that.
Yeah, well, me neither.
You know, and I just feel like that's a big thing. Farmers feed the world.
Yep.
So, you know, it seems like farmers are a big part of the world. They are. They are the main part.
And with that, you know, think about the commodity prices. They've all been cut in half. The pork's been cut in half. The chicken, the beef, all that's been cut in half. And, you know, to think, okay, well, my paycheck's been cut in half. That's not a big deal, right? For the week, maybe. For the month, if you can get by. But a lot of times, you know, farmers, they bring in one crop a year. And when that's like their whole year's paycheck just got cut in half. And on top of that, you know, like the grain industry. Okay, so you see the farmers with the grain bins and that. All right, so we'll store it. How long do you think you can store it? You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
not very long.
Yeah, I mean, you maybe can store it a year, and usually it takes more than that for the prices to get back up, right? And same with the beef. You know, I heard some guys struggling out in feedlots, and they right now they've got cattle out in feedlots, and they can't sell them because all the packers are shut down, and they won't purchase the beef to butcher, and so these guys are not only not able to sell the crop or the I guess it'd be called a crop or a beef crop, but they're not only able to not sell their beef that they've worked all year for, but they are also having to pay a feed bill on top of that to keep the beef alive, and thirdly, they might have to wait a month or 2 months longer just to be able to I guess, get them sold, and that definitely cuts into the beef, into the, I guess, the long range price of it, because if you're already losing half of your check, and then on top of that you have to pay even a longer feed bill out of it. That sure does cut into a pocket awful deep.
Quick, you know, just here before you know it, and sneaks up on you,
and the sacrifices. You know, I mean, when you don't have half a paycheck, you don't get the new item you needed or the tool you needed in the shop that you broke last week because you had to, and you know the sacrifices the family has to make. It cuts out families' dreams. It cuts out families' thoughts. And if it gets bad enough, it'll cut out a lot of families' livelihoods. And and this is not only with coronavirus. I know this plays a big portion and definitely slammed the farmers hard. And hopefully, good Lord willing, that will definitely come back up. But
so with that said, you know, I think we should pray for the farmers. You know, I think we should pray for the farmers. Pray for the people that have a big part in that, the prices. You know, help the economy to get back to normal or where it was. You know, so then the farmers are not going through such a toll in their life and are just back to having opportunities and chances to progress and keep the world fed.
And you know, you guys have heard about, you know, on the radios, local radios, TV shows, all that stuff. You've heard about, you know, please go and buy gift cards for different organizations because they need to have the money coming in even though they are closed to the direct public. The cattle industry, or any industry for that matter, on the farming side of it is the same way. You know, if you can please go and buy the beef or dairy, poultry, any of that stuff, you know, that you can afford, that, you know, that all helps. That's a kickback. If there's more of a demand for beef and that people will go back to the packing plants to work and they will be able to open them back up, that definitely helps all the cattlemen in the associations to be able to come together and definitely be able to afford to pull through this one. So with that said, guys, that's all we had for today. I definitely thank you for listening. If you have any comments, questions, anything like that, definitely put them down below, wouldn't you say? I mean,
definitely. We're open-minded. We'll try to answer them to the best of our abilities.
Yep.
And give you correct, factual answers.
Yep, and we're open ears too. We like to learn, so if you have any opinions, please state them down below. Also, please hit the like button if you're viewing this on YouTube. If you would like, you are welcome to share this on any social media site. Pass it on to friends and family. We would ask you to please provide them with our YouTube channel, whether that means down below in the description or in a text or however. If you would provide that to them, that would be very much appreciated. But with that said, I hope you guys all have a blessed and safe rest of this virus epidemic and the rest of your careers. If you've lost your career, unfortunately, in this thing that's came up, we're just praying for you guys that you're able to find new ones that are, good Lord willing, better than the one you had. So with that said, I guess that'd pretty much wrap it up, guys.
We'll get through this,
Yep.
and soon it'll be over, and hopefully everything will be back to normal very soon.
Yes. So with that said, guys, thank you for viewing. This is Cowboy Ranch Life on YouTube channel. My name is Winston.
And I'm Justice.
And thank you for viewing. I hope you have an awesome day.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. I need somebody with arms strong enough to wrestle a calf and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to call hogs, tame cantankerous machinery, come home hungry, have to wait lunch until his wife's done feeding visiting ladies, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon and mean it. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die and dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon and then painin' from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God had to have somebody willing to ride the ruts at double speed to get the hay in ahead of the rain clouds and yet stop in midfield and race to help when he sees the first smoke from a neighbor's place. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk and replenish the self-feeder and finish a hard week's work with a 5-mile drive to church. Somebody who'd bail a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.